A lot of people track their calories to cut weight, and I've always hated that. I think it's not fun. Today, I want to show you another way to approach your diet. And when I teach body composition management in general, I use two fundamental dietary skills, which is one, eating the right amount of protein, and two, eating the right amount of energy, which ultimately determines your energy stores, aka body fat. But this method actually makes use of that protein target to regulate your energy intake without ever putting anything on a scale or plugging your numbers into some stupid tracker or anything like that. This is a method I've developed it myself. It's exactly what I use. So let's get to it. Using myself as an example, we're going to start with my protein goal. I'm going to set that at 180 grams daily, and that's of course related to my body weight and composition and activity levels. And my energy needs, just based off of my recent observations, are roughly 3,500 calories per day. If I just divide my energy need by my protein need, I'm left with this sort of magic number, which in my case is 1 to 20. And all this is a ratio of how much protein I need compared to how many calories I need. So I'm going to call this my target protein to calorie ratio. If you don't know what your needs are and can't figure out your magic number, don't worry about it. I'll get to that in a little bit. So what this means is if I focus my eating on meeting my protein target and the protein to calorie ratio of my food is at this 1 to 20 number, then my calorie intake will be at my maintenance level. And if I eat below this ratio, say 1 to 15, I would expect to lose weight, and above it, I would gain weight. Let's see what this looks like compared to some foods in the kitchen.
All right, I have here some reduced fat mozzarella. As you can see, 70 calories and 8 grams of protein. So I just divide 70 by 8, that's roughly 9. So the protein to calorie ratio for this reduced fat mozzarella cheese would be 1 to 9. That's well below my target ratio. So if I ate, again, to my protein goals, I'm eating nothing but cheese, first off, I'd have a pretty big stomach ache, but my calories would be well below maintenance and I would lose a whole lot of weight. Okay, here's one more. This is just some plain pasta. So we've got 200 calories and 7 grams of protein. So you do that division. Our ratio is 1 to 29. For every 1 gram of protein, there's roughly 29 calories. That is above my target ratio. So if I were to eat to my protein needs, eating nothing but pasta, my energy intake would be above that of maintenance and I would gain weight.
So now we can get creative and have some cheesy pasta. So let's say I ate half of my protein goal from pasta and half from cheese. That's actually about 1 serving of pasta and 1 serving of cheese as proportionately, so that's not too bad, honestly. But the protein and calorie ratios for each kind of balance each other out, and they'd actually, in this case, be almost right at 120, which is my target. So I could eat nothing but this cheesy pasta all day, and I would expect my weight to stay roughly the same. So it's probably important to note, even if the protein to calorie ratio of my food is right on target, if I eat quantities so that the protein exceeds my target, then that would mean the energy intake is also going to exceed your target, and it wouldn't matter what your ratio was. You can, if you eat too much of anything, of course you're going to be gaining weight. All right, so we're sick of cheesy pasta by now. Let me show you some other sample foods and their protein calorie ratios. And I like to categorize them, so I like to start with this kind of less than 10 category, which means very low energy compared to the protein value. Egg whites, chicken breast, protein powders. Moving up, things like beans, beef, and cheese. And this is where my line is, right? So all of these have a protein to calorie ratio below 20. If I ate nothing but foods within this category to my protein target, I would lose weight very quickly. But moving up, in this 20 to 35, we have bread, pasta, sausage. And so this is where I kind of like to keep my food choices, right? I can balance these out pretty easily and keep my intake for energy where it needs to be to control my weight. Then if moving on to sort of, almost dessert-like categories is things like hummus, rice, cereal, ice cream, chips, candy, things that just are bringing with them an excessive amount of energy, and you need to be very cautious with and make sure that you're balancing them out and including them in moderation, if at all. Right, so I like to kind of draw this line mentally where my target protein to calorie ratio is, and then as long as my balance falls close to this line, my weight is going to do exactly what I want it to. Okay, so what about you? Most people are going to have a lower protein requirement. A good place to start with that is simply an estimate of your lean body mass. Okay, so excluding body fat, that's how many grams per day you'll want to eat. And most people are going to have even more lower energy needs. And those are really hard to kind of figure out. There's some ways to make some terrible estimates, but the only way to really do it is to track your dietary intake, and the changes in your body weight will reveal the difference between your intake and your actual needs. But you can accomplish the exact same thing by just starting with a guess of your target protein to calorie ratio. And I recommend a great place to start is kind of 1 to 20. That's going to be a really good way to help you start making better food choices. But then likewise, you can compare how your body weight changes in relation to that energy level. And then you can get more aggressive and shoot for maybe, 1 to 18, 1 to 15 as you need to. So to summarize, your protein target will dictate the quantity of what you eat, while the protein to calorie ratio will indicate the quality of your food choices, or how well they contribute to an appropriate level of energy intake. Right, so this method does require that you're paying attention to how much protein you eat, but this is actually one of many reasons that I like to encourage making protein the center of dieting strategies. I think it's a really nice way to get away from tracking calories and things like that. But if you like this video, like it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and please subscribe if you're interested in coaching. If you want to learn more or talk about these things as they specifically relate to you, links are down below, or you can just contact me. Other than that, thank you all, and peace out.